So today we'll be learning how to self-wrap your arm using compression bandaging. Please consult with your lymphedema specialist prior to starting this part of your treatment and follow any specific instructions they may have for you. You ready? Before you begin, remove any jewelry or wristwatches from your affected arm. Next, gather the materials you will need to wrap your arm. These include a thin layer stockinette, elastomol, sometimes called finger bandaging, 4 to 5 rolls of short stretch bandages, a 6 centimeter, an 8 centimeter one, and two 10 centimeter bandages. Next would be a roll of either foam padding or soft padding, such as Artiflex. The last thing you will need is masking tape or some type of tape cut in 1-inch pieces. Step 1, apply the stockinette over your affected arm. Cut a small hole for your thumb near the end of the stockinette. If you will be wrapping your hand and fingers, roll the stockinette down around your wrist during step 2. This protects the rest of your bandaging from coming in contact with the natural oils of your skin, so that the only thing you'll need to wash and or replace is the stockinette. Step 2, apply the finger bandaging. Hold the roll of bandaging in your opposite hand with the tail pointing towards the table. The roll should sit atop your hand like a snail. Anchor the bandage around your wrist 2 or 3 times. It shouldn't be tight, but snug enough to keep from slipping. Next, we'll start wrapping the fingers, starting with the thumb. Start with the inside of your thumb. Wrap your thumb 2 to 4 times, depending on the width of your bandaging. Then bring the bandaging back across the top of your hand and around your wrist. From there, bring the bandage across the top of your hand to the inside of your second finger and wrap this finger until you have reached the last knuckle. Leave the tips of all your fingers and nail beds uncovered. Bring the bandaging back across the top of your hand and around the wrist. Repeat these steps for the rest of the 3 fingers. The bandages should feel snug, not tight, and should not constrict your circulation. Your palms should be left uncovered, and the top of your hand should be crisscrossed with the finger bandaging. Do not tape this bandage. Any remaining bandaging can be wrapped around the wrist and tucked in. Step 3, applying the padding. Once the finger bandaging is done, pull the stockinette back over your hand and place your thumb through the hole that you made earlier. If your lymphedema specialist has recommended foam padding, have them instruct you on its application. For today's video, we will be using Artiflex, which is a soft layer of padding that helps to shape the arm into a more normal shape and offers a cushion between the rest of the bandages in your arm. Hold one end of the roll in your hand and cut a small hole for your thumb near the end. Have the end of the roll pointing down and the rest of the roll positioned like a snail with the roll side up. Begin wrapping your hand, overlapping each roll about 50%. This roll should not be pulled tight. Continue wrapping until you've reached the top of your arm. If you have extra, you may loop some back to the areas where you feel you need more cushioning. Finally, do not use tape on this part of your bandaging. Step 4, compression bandaging. Start with a 6 centimeter bandage. Anchor it 2 to 3 times around the wrist, then crisscross over the top of your hand and back around, then crisscross to the other side. Repeat this step until you have used up all of the bandage, leaving enough for one final wrap around the wrist. This bandage should be snug, but feel comfortable and allow you to move your wrist freely. Do not wrap so tight you cut off the circulation to your hand. Apply a piece of tape to keep it in place. Next, take the 8 centimeter bandage. Start at the wrist. Begin to wrap your arm, overlapping slightly over the first bandage. Continue wrapping your arm, overlapping about 50% with each revolution. When you get to the top of your arm, tape the end in place. If you have extra, You can loop it back around in places where you need more support. Before you start the next bandage, check your arm to see if there are spots where you feel it is not snug enough. Also, make sure you can bend your elbow. Then, starting close to where the first bandage began, wrap your arm upwards, taping it in place when you reach the top. If you have extra bandage, do not cut it off, but again, loop it back down to where you feel you need more support, then tape it in place. Repeat this step with the last bandage. You may have noticed that I had a little extra material when I was bandaging. That is because I do not have swelling. These bandages usually work out to be the perfect length when you are bandaging an arm that has lymphedema. The recommendation is to wear these bandages day and night as tolerated in the acute phase to reduce the swelling when you first notice it, taking them off only to bathe or shower. If you notice your swelling goes down quickly and the bandages start to spontaneously fall off during the day, retighten them, as that is a good sign the treatment is working. Once your swelling is stabilized, it is recommended that you purchase a compression sleeve, and your local lymphedema specialist should be able to help you with that. It usually takes 1 to 3 weeks for the swelling to reduce and stabilize, depending on the severity of your lymphedema. If the size of your arm has stabilized, it may also be recommended you continue to bandage your arm on a nightly basis, again depending on the severity of your swelling. Your local lymphedema specialist can hopefully guide you in these decisions. One final note, be patient with yourself when you first start wrapping your arm. It may take a while at first, but in a short amount of time, it will become much easier to manage and will be worth the effort. Good luck.